The difference between a successful athlete and an unsuccessful athlete isn't the lack of strength. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's the lack of will. How deep is your will? Think about that. How deep is your will? Thanks for watching another episode of Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. Packed episode today again for you. The usual segments, single track secrets, what's in your water bottle, water racing, the Rumble in the Jungle recap, questions from the fans, and a whole host of things. So again, thanks for watching. As always, find sponsors that really make a difference to help me out doing what it is that I love doing, sharing mountain biking stories, events with you all. Orcus Technologies, worldwide leader in communications, telecommunications, orcus.net. ESI Grips, esigrips.com. Don't forget, use that discount code HLS2025 to get 20% off your entire order. Amazing grips, no numb hands. Add some good color to that bike. Amazing product. Been on them for, I don't know, probably the last 10 years or so. Really, really good. Cycling, cycling.com. Again, they got a discount code HLS2025. Get 20% off site-wide. Use that code HLS2025. Check out all their cycling clothing. Team and I have been in them for probably 2 or 3 years now. Really comfortable and priced quite reasonable. MASH Mobile Vet. Stressful times taking your animal to the hospital. Why not have the hospital come to you? MASHmobilevet.com. They're going to bring an entire mobile hospital right to your front door. Take care of your animal without that stress of loading them up, taking them to the vet, sitting in waiting rooms. MASHmobilevet.com. POC Helmets, POC.com. POC Helmets. Oh my God, I've been on POC Helmets forever. Vented, MIP system, amazing helmets. NV Wheels, ENVE.com. NV Wheels, great wheels. Been using these on my race bike for probably about five months now. The M5 is my wheel of choice. 24 spoke, 30 mil ID wheel. Amazing activation, full carbon, and ultra lightweight. Pirelli Tires, new sponsor this week. Pirelli Tires, PIRELLI.com. Pirelli Tires. In the video, you'll see when I do my single track secrets, you're going to see the new Pirelli tire that I'm running. I'm using the M Race, newest compound, newest tread pattern they got out. It hooks up, man. That's just an amazing tire. So, again, thank you to all my sponsors for affording me the opportunity to do what it is that I love doing. Racing, riding, training, and sharing information with you guys. Again, today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Rumble in the Jungle, race recap, passing etiquette. This ties right back into Rumble in the Jungle. FSC season is about to kick off in 3 weekends from now. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Gone Riding Florida State Championship Series schedule. And again, single track secrets, questions from the fans, what's in your water bottle, and the segment that I absolutely love, the water racing. Water racing coming from the Rumble in the Jungle. So I hope you enjoyed that video that I did last week with the Rumble in the Jungle pre-ride at Markham Park. Interesting thing happened. The video was nothing absolutely nothing based on the conditions that we got to ride. The conditions were absolutely perfect. No mud, no anything. No slippery wood. I can't believe the difference from the video that I shot on Friday night compared to the course that we actually got to race on Sunday. So it wound up being a 25 or 50 mile race. I elected to do the 50 mile solo race. Myself and my teammates, very, very fortunate to have swept the podium. Myself, Julio, and Marco. We got the top 3 spots. Those guys were working me to death. I wound up getting the whole shot. You're going to hear a little bit later in the Water Racing what happened with this whole shot stuff, but I wound up getting the whole shot and did as best I could to try and crack the field over the course of 8 laps. Unfortunately, towards the end, towards about halfway through lap 7, it's not that often that I actually experience cramping, and I experienced a little bit of cramping. Worst part about it is I didn't even get the signal that it was coming. It all of a sudden just came, left hamstring locked up on me, pushed through it. I needed maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Luckily, it came in a downhill area. I was able to stretch it out and fight my way to the finish. So again, it was a great day. My guys with me, Julio and Marco, really made the day enjoyable. We pushed lap times pretty consistent throughout the day. I always refer to negative splitting. Negative splitting means trying to get faster throughout the day. It's very, very challenging in these endurance races to get faster as the day goes on. In 8 laps, I think we started the day around 25s and then finished the day around 27s, very low 27. So roughly 26 is the whole day. Definitely not negative splitting, but only I think it came out to a 90-second swing in our lap times. Wound up being pretty good. I'm okay with a 90-second swing over the course of 8 laps. Race was relatively 3.5 hours long. The volunteers, everybody that put the event on, thank you so much for all that you guys do to give us the opportunity to have the ability to ride this amazing park. Beautiful day of racing, great people. So Rumble in the Jungle 2025. Hopefully you enjoyed that last video. And thank you to you guys. I put out there in the beginning, hey, let's try to get this one to 1,000. Normally my videos have somewhere between 700 and 900 for the pre-ride video. I think we're at 1,300 right now. So thank you for doing that, clicking on and watching, commenting, all that good stuff. All right. Passing etiquette. I don't even know where to go with this one, because every single race, whether it's a fundraiser or part of the Florida State Championship Series or the Coconut Cup Series or someplace else in the country that I happen to be, I always hear about these passing etiquette and passing problems with passing. Keep in mind, everybody out there is racing. You should never tell the person that you just happen to catch up to move, get out of the way, or yell at them. There is passing etiquette. If you're so fast, you don't need that person to move. What you need to do is create a relationship with them. Introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. Encourage them that they're doing good. And when the trail gives you the opportunity, you should go out of your way to try and get around. Memorization of the trail will help you get around other athletes that are out there. But again, you should never ask. Or you should never ask. You should never tell them to get out of the way. Fortunately, in racing, you're going to wind up catching up to about the same people every single weekend, especially if you're competing in a series. If you build a good relationship with them, every time you get around, what happens is on the second time or the third time, there's going to be a lot more trail etiquette on their part to get out of the way to help you get around smoothly so you can continue on with your race. It is so rare. It is so rare that the outcome of the day is based on your experience with lapped riders. Lapped rider simply means somebody you're catching up to that's slower than you or in a different class. So passing etiquette, just don't be a dick. That's really all it comes down to. Everybody's out there trying to race. Everybody's out there trying to do the right thing. Believe it or not, you're not losing a whole lot of time staying behind somebody. Encourage them to keep forward motion. This came up, or has come up quite frequently in our benefit races and a lot of times in racing. The lesser classes, base and sport, compared to the expert class, for some reason, not a lot of drama in the expert class, a lot of drama in the other two classes. In base, a lot more drama in base, a little bit less in sport, not a whole lot in expert. This weekend, just to give you an example of passing etiquette amongst a group. So let's say I was leading the group this weekend and we caught up to somebody slower in front of us, and there happens to be 5 people in the group. In this case, just for conversation purposes, I'm going to give Julio, no offense to you, Julio, I'm going to give Julio the 5th slot. I'm in the 1st slot. We pass the lappers as a group of 5. You don't jump them. Take advantage. Let him get in the middle, him or her get in the middle of the pack and attack everybody. It's not the way it works. You're not winning by jumping a lapper, getting them to interfere with everybody else. So it actually happened a couple times this past weekend when we were racing the Rumble. I wound up getting through a lapper clean, and then all of a sudden I don't hear anything behind me. Very first thing, Julio, again, nothing against Julio, I call out for Julio. Julio! Silence. I look over my shoulder, still not there. Next person comes through, next person comes through. Until we regroup as a group of 5, we sit up, wait for the group of 5, and then start racing each other again. Racing each other hard. Same thing we've done the whole day long. All day long. 3 times this happened. The person in front needs to wait for the group to regroup and continue on racing each other. You don't want to get a lapper in the middle of the group. That affects the outcome of the day, and you don't want to win that way. So passing etiquette. Build a relationship with the person. Don't tell them to get out of the way. Don't get angry. Encourage them. And if you're passing within a race and you have a group of people with you, pass with the group. Not solo. Pass with the group. Your competitors will greatly appreciate the fact that you're doing this. And if you were that person in 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or 2nd or 3rd, you would appreciate it also to get around the group cleanly and continue on racing. Just a little advice for you. Don't be a dick. All right. Florida State Championship Series. This is going to be my 31st Florida State Championship Series. I can't believe it. 31. 31 Florida State Championship Series that I'm going to get to line up for this year. First, we have the schedule. Schedule kicks off in 3 weekends from now. September 13th and 14th, we're going to be up in Tallahassee at Tom Brown Park. My career actually started in Tom Brown Park. I probably turned 1,000 laps in that place. Absolutely love it. We have the time trial on Saturday, and then the regular cross country on Sunday. 1 week later, heading up to Jacksonville, Abbey Hanna Park. Another normal round in the series. This is just a regular cross-country race on Sunday. Nothing else special happening on the weekend. So round 2 is the flow of the FSC is in Hanna Park. We then get a weekend off and then kick off October. October 4th and 5th is the Coconut Cup round 1. Round 1, Dyer Park in West Palm Beach. Just Coconut Cup, short track, Saturday and Sunday. October 12th, FSC 3 and Coconut Cup number 2 in Markham Park. Can't wait to be back at Markham Park. We actually haven't raced Markham Park for 2 years. This is going to be our first time back at Markham Park during the Florida State Championship Series. We're actually there during the Coconut Cup Series in March. And this year we're going to have the opportunity to go there back part of the Florida State Series. So that's on October 12th. October 18th and 19th, FSC 4 in Vortex in Ocala. We raced the 3 different locations in the Vortex. We raced 2 different locations. We raced the Vortex and the Trailhead. When we go there for the Hammerhead 100, that's actually on the Landbridge side. There's three locations to Ocala that we race. That's so. On the 18th and 19th, FSC 4 on the at Vortex in Ocala. November 1st and 2nd, FSC 5 with the short track Coconut Cup makeup, and this is all going to be over in Lakeland. We're going to have a short track on Saturday, and then the cross country on Sunday. It's a makeup race for the Coconut Cup, but it's actually FSC number 5. 16th Florida State Championship Series number 6 up in San Falasco, just north of Gainesville. Pretty much a pretty long haul for us out of South Florida. It's about a 5.5 hour drive. Beautiful trails, amazing park, just north of Gainesville. And on the 23rd, FSC 7, Coconut Cup 3, Caloosahatchee, Alva, just across the state. Another amazing park. One of the questions, or one of the things that always comes up, unfortunately, with us being into hurricane season, yeah, the schedule sometimes gets bumped around a little bit just because that September, October, the possibility of a hurricane down here is highly likely. I would say probably 50% of the Florida State Series, there's always happens to be something that comes up with hurricane season and having to bump the schedule around. So this is on paper, this is the schedule that we're going to follow. But then again, you never know based on hurricane season what's going to happen. Weekend off the end of November for Thanksgiving. None of us like to travel. And then we head into December 6th and 7th. We've got a Coconut Cup number 4, FSC makeup, time trial on Saturday, FSC time trial makeup, and all of this happens down at Hialeah at Amelia Earhart Park. And then wrapping up the 2025 Florida State Championship Series on December 14th in Ocala again at Santos Trailhead, and then we have the banquet. We have that banquet that night. Looking forward to it. As the weeks get closer, I'll talk more specifically about each one of the events. So in 2 weeks on Hook, Line, and Shifter, you can see all the ins and outs about what we can expect to see at Tom Brown Park for FSC1, as well as the time trial. So that's it. Florida State Championship Series 2025. I can't believe it, man. 31st Florida State Championship Series for myself. I was just a kid. I was just a kid when I started this. Now I'm just an older kid trying to, I don't know, keep plugging away on this bike. All right. Sections or segments that you're gonna like, that I like doing. First and foremost, single track secrets. Hope you enjoy this one. This was our Moto Monday at Markham Park in Sunrise, Florida. So hopefully you enjoy this.
All right. Thanks for watching, subscribing, liking, sharing, all that good stuff. Bob McCarty, hook, line, and shifter. This was a Moto Monday last night. Had to come back this morning because the video was complete shit. I said in the last one I'm technologically challenged. Last night I was challenged. Hopefully this one's a little bit better. Enjoy the video. Moto Monday recap at Markham Park. Thanks for watching.
And here we go. Rock Garden's off to the left, Route 66 off to the right. This is the start and end of the Moto Monday lap. Taking the left-hand turn here, I believe this is called Deep Dark, or Dark Side. This is Dark Side Trail. Not that complicated of a trail, pretty fast and flowing. Main thing inside here is you just kind of have to watch out for some of the rocks and roots. A lot of them hit the front wheel in a... as you're trying to go around the turn, so the front wheel is going to actually feel like it wants to wash out a little bit on you. But other than that, picking your lines is really the most important part going through here. As we head around this, we're going to make our way up to the top of the jump line. When we get up to the top of the jump line, you'll see we'll drop into Redback, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Up and around this next corner, we're going to go up some pavers, watching for pedal strike on the right because of that log. And now we're at the top of the jump line. All right. Okay, right here we're heading into Redback. You have two options. Off to the right side is a skinny, an elevated skinny. It's probably about 16, maybe 18 inches wide. Not that hard to do. Again, look where you want to go. Don't look where you don't want to go. Only focus in on the center of the skinny, and you can go up and over it. Off to the left, we have a log over. We're going to go ahead and do the log over on the left side. Main thing with the log over is that I want to make sure that I'm allowing the bicycle to freely move underneath me while keeping my head and shoulders as stable as I can. So the bike is simply going to move, head and shoulders going to stay stable, allow the bike to the freedom to move underneath me. Staying as loose as you can on the bike is really going to make a big difference on how you feel as you're trying to navigate the trail system. Taking this left-hand turn, close to that tree, don't practice avoidance. Getting ready to drop down into Redback. First thing we have is the jump down. Off on the left is a kicker. Helps you air out the top side of this tabletop, land on the back side around the Redback berm. I'm going to opt to do the left side, only because I like to leave the ground just a little bit. All right, around the Redback berm, another double into the berm, up to a climb. From here, gonna drop back down over some wood. Dry morning, not that concerned about the wood. Around to the left. And up and over this ramp, picking a left line on the descent. All right, new section of trail. Right in front of us here, we have the normal line, which would be off to the right side, and then a new line that just opened up. I believe it just opened up on Wednesday or Thursday this week. Simple roller or brake check going into it. That's the mound that's right in front of us. Right when I go around that, we're going to make a right-hand turn. Let's see what that looks like. All right, here we go. Right around the right-hand turn, another small roller into a pretty good-sized double. Pretty intimidating looking at it, but with the speed, you carry the right momentum through it. It's actually not that bad. The bike wants to float up and over, so we're going to go ahead and do this first roller, float up and over this double into a smaller double, and then the trail is going to actually merge back together from there to a left-hand turn. Small double to the left-hand turn. So this is actually all part of the normal trail, the normal direction. All right, dropping down this to a paver double. Kind of hard to do, and the reason is in that paver, I think I've talked about this one before. In that paver, the second paver has a bit of a kick to it, so it really wants to kick the bike up and off the ground. Obviously, you got the tree on the left side. You have to land and try and tackle this right-hand paver. As we go around the corner, there's going to be a trail split in front of us. To the right, it's going to go back up to Area 51. Off to the left is going to be the adaptive trail. We're going to go ahead and stay on the adaptive trail. I like to mix up the course that we do on Moto Monday. A lot of stuff is fast and flowing, and a lot of it is technical. I don't like to put all technical, and I don't like to put all fast and flowing in. I definitely want to mix things up. This moto I chose to mix things up. So we're gonna go ahead left into the adaptive trail, make it a lot more flowing and fun. All right, so now we're in the adaptive trail. Pine needle covered terrain. The tire that I'm running is a new Pirelli M Race. It's a new compound tire, new tread pattern. Really hooks up quite well. Again, I'm looking down the trail just to see where everything's going. Once I look down the trail, I'm gonna look at the physical trail itself, find out what inside the trail is or how things inside the trail are gonna affect my ride or affect the handleability of the bike. All right, right around this corner, we got a left-hand turn. Just in front, I have a rock. In efforts of practicing mountain biking, there's a couple laps that I went under the rock, and then there was a couple laps that I went over the rock just to see how the bike acted. Not one or the other was faster. The only thing going over the rock is that your front wheel actually clears the rock, and then your back wheel wants to track into it. Always remember, when you turn, the harder you turn, the bigger the track difference is between the front wheel and the back wheel. The more open or the wider the turn is, the back wheel isn't going to track. It's always going to track to the inside, but it's not going to drastically track to the inside. The tighter the radius of the corner, the more that back wheel is going to track to the inside. You have to be sure where the back wheel is, as well as where the front wheel is. But ultimately, going around this particular corner, I got the front wheel to avoid the rock. And then because of how tight I was turning the bike, I anticipated that the back wheel was going to hit it. I'll go ahead and pick it up and over the rock just so it doesn't run into it. All right. Continuing on the adaptive trail. Really fast section here. Resting my legs as soon as I feel as the bike is up to speed. What resting my legs means knees back, heels down, resting the quads, stretching the hamstrings and calves. All right, right here we're going to shoot across the trail into, I believe this is called Whale Tail. Little bump in the dirt just before you go in between the two trees. I'll be able to use that to manual across the gap and then head up into Whale Tail. Rudy section, obviously focused in on my lines, big part of this trail. New section here, we're going to go up the pavers and then drop back down and then head into this berm. Wood berm. I've said before in my videos, ride the wood berm as though it's dirt. Pick your line according as though it was dirt. One of the key things always to remember is that the wood is dry. I can hold a really tight line, confident that the bike isn't going to slide for any reason. If in fact the wood was wet, I'd probably run a much lower line, much more conservative, and not go as fast. Beautiful morning out there. That thing's stuck. We have outside. I'm going to enter a little bit in the center / outside entry, and then I'm going to drop down as low as I can to the middle of the berm and hold that tight line around the berm. The reason I'm holding that tight line is the bike wants to drift up. Tighter line I can hold, the more room I have to work with in the event that I get it wrong. Also, it's the shortest distance around the berm. There we go, nice and tight. Hanging a right-hander here, avoiding the end of the trail, and I believe this is going to be out back. Round this left-hander. Okay, this is one of the sections that I wanted to zoom a little bit in on, and this is one of the topics that I'm pretty passionate about focusing in on your line selection. Line selection is knowing exactly where the front wheel is at all times. If you look in this still shot, you can see on the outside of the turn or off to the right side is a massive washout. A massive washout. The reason is that you're looking up the trail, not conscious of where the front wheel actually is at that moment. I know just around that next corner in front, I have to make a right-hander. Not even there yet. Not even there. I know I'm going to be making a right-hander. I'm still focused in on exactly where that front wheel needs to be. I'm going to use the term tight lines. I'm going to run tight lines. I'm going to run those inside lines as best I can, especially here, knowing that outside rut. I'll tell you what, check your local park, check your some of the trails you consistently ride, and you're going to find a lot of these things. If you're going to crash for a good reason. This is not a good reason to make yourself go down. All right, tight twisty trails up some roots. Fun morning out there. Again, I had a great moto that night with the guys. Unfortunately, lost the whole video. All right. Dropping down. Once we drop down, we have the expert, what do they call this? Outback extension. Advanced section, double red, diamond, one or two features that's pretty washed out. We'll talk a little bit about when we get to there. So staying off to the left side here, going into Outback extension. Going to wind up going up some climb, or up a climb. Close to the tree here, picking up that bike over the roots. And then again, focusing on my line choice. Focusing on my lines, making sure that front wheel is exactly where it's supposed to be. Up and around that corner, we have some roots. Dropping back down. This is really the technical section that we were talking about. Around the corner, up these pavers. Around the pavers, left-hand turn, climbing up to the top of the whole thing. From here, we're going to take a left-hand drop down. Right off in the distance, we have a double down. You can see a little bit of an edge to the paver. That's going to actually help bump the front wheel, bump the back wheel. I know I've said this again and again. It looks much more intimidating than it actually is. Once you carry speed into it, you can kind of clear over this gap relatively easy. Off in the distance, you can see there that we have a right-hand paver turn. In that right-hand paver turn is also a hip to hop off. So we're going to hop off the end of the hip and then head out onto that fire road. Here we go, hopping off the hip. Out onto the fire road. Sweeping around to the right. Back off to the left. And then from here, we're going to head into Route 66. Going to double in. Tuck underneath that tree and heading into Route 66. This lap was about 7.5 minutes long. Super, super fun. Especially with the guys pushing each other as much as we do. I've talked about that Rudy section we just went up before in one of my other videos. So right now we're in Route 66. It's actually the second half or towards the end of it. Real Rudy section. Here there's a line on the right. We're going to stay off to the left, drop down. Sandy right hand turn. Carrying some good momentum through here.
All right, another Moto Monday here at Markham Park. A little bit of sweat, dying, sun, August. It's rough. Hardest. July and August, hardest months for us to get through down here in South Florida. But hope you liked the video. Again, thanks for watching. Bob McCarty, hook, line, and shifter.
All right, hope you enjoyed that lap from my Moto Monday with the guys at Markham Park. Next section, questions from the fans. You got any questions for me? Feel free to send me those questions at mtbcoachbob@gmail. mtbcoachbob@gmail. What do we got? Two of the questions that came in this week. One of them is from Marcelo. Marcelo said, I participated in the Rumble in the Jungle last weekend. Congrats on your win. Thank you. I celebrated another finish of the 25 miler. I was about to throw the towel in on the third lap, and I thought my somewhat increase in training would have I like that, would have moved me up in the ranks. I'm in the crossroads of accepting that I continue this average speed of 8.5 miles an hour, upgrading my bike. How much more speed and efficiency can a carbon fiber bike such as the Spark provide? That is a great question. I'll tell you what, your carbon bike ain't going to produce anything faster for you. You ain't going to get any faster from a carbon bike. You're going to make the ride feel a little bit better. The carbon has a tendency to be able to absorb some more of the trail. That's could produce some speed, but you're not necessarily guaranteed it. I would say if there's any one thing that you want to try and invest in that's going to get you some more speed right off the bat is probably a nice set of carbon wheels. Nice set of carbon wheels is going to help the rollability of the bike and probably pick up your average speed. Here's the issue with the entire conversation. There's nothing that replaces training. Any one of the upgrades that you make. So let's say, Marcelo, today your average speed is 18.5 miles an hour based on your current fitness and your bike. So you know what? You go out and spend thousands of dollars. You make all those upgrades and your average speed went from 18.5 to 10.5. You picked up 2 miles an hour. Did you do anything to get 2 miles an hour? No. You got some better equipment, better wheels. Now you're 2 miles an hour faster. So let's say that on Saturday you're 8.5 miles an hour. You made these incredible upgrades to your bike on Sunday, and on Monday you're 10.5 miles an hour. Guess what happens on Tuesday? You're right back to the exact same position you were at 8.5 miles an hour. It's going to be based on your training, discipline. How much effort are you putting behind the sport? Just because you're 10.5 miles an hour on Monday doesn't mean you're going to be any faster on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, you're going to be 10.5 miles an hour again and back in the same position. Training. There's nothing that replaces training, saddle time, pushing on those cranks, trying to get better. Always remember power to weight ratios. If you're a 200 pound guy or 200 pound athlete, the quickest way to get faster is to lose a little bit of weight. However strong you are, you have to move that mass down the trail. Losing some weight is a way to instantly get yourself a little bit faster and help and try to get yourself motivated into training. So great question, Marcelo. Next one. This one came to me from James. James said to me that he's raced mountain bikes before and BMX, has done some triathlons, some crit. Wants to know, can all of these disciplines help mountain biking and mountain bike racing in the future? without a doubt. Anything, all of those things are going to help. BMX, I started BMX in 1979. There's still things to this day that I'm doing on the bike that I learned back in 1979 as a kid, trying to trying to learn those skills to make sure I can handle the bike the right way. Time trialing, that helps you to develop the discipline of going into that hurt locker and understanding how to sit there. Crit racing, same thing. That teaches you how to be close to people while handling a bicycle. All of it is going to help. I would say if you have to put it into a pie chart, you're going to want to spend probably 60-70% of your time on your primary discipline, in my case mountain bike racing, and then from there maybe a 20% on something else, 10% on something, and 10% on something else. You still want to spend a bulk of your time on focusing in on exactly the main discipline, but it can't hurt to mix things up, mix those muscles up, and ultimately be able to apply some of the things that you learn in those other disciplines to make your experience better on the bike. Again, racing BMX that I've done for a good part of my life, racing motocross, supercross, all these two-wheel things has ultimately led me into the position that I am of racing bicycles. So again, James, great question. Marcelo, great questions. Anybody else has any questions for me, please let me know. mtbcoachbob@gmail.com. Next segment. 2 segments left. What's in your water bottle? What's in your water bottle? Said it before, a couple years ago, I got interviewed after a race, and they said, "Oh my God, Bob, we want to know what's in your water bottle. What's the secret?" Man, I wish I could tell you exactly what the secret is. In my water bottle, water. Pretty simple. Water. I get my electrolytes through pills. I get my carbohydrates through gels. Generally, I just keep water in the bottle. Occasionally, I'll run some scratch mix. But the real key is what's in your water bottle, Bob? Tell you what's in my water bottle. 4 a.m. wake-up call consistently. 5:20 every morning. Pedaling that bike. Discipline, consistency, week in, week out, year in and year out. 4 a.m. that alarm clock goes off and I'm up. I said in one of my episodes before that you have a 100% success rate when you want to work out. You have a 100% success rate when you want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What is your success rate when you don't want to work out? What is your success rate when that alarm clock goes off and you don't want to get up? What separates the elites from other average athletes is, what do you do when you don't want to do something? What do you do when you don't want to work out? That's what separates elites from the average. So 4 a.m. wake-up call. Next one, I've talked about power before. Power on our bikes, we have the ability to quantify our actions. Translates down into TSS, which is a training stress score. Training stress score simply means I get points. You get a certain number of points for the amount of activity that you do. Points are going to based on the longevity, as well as how hard you're pushing down on the cranks. I have a set number that I'm looking to do, or a range that I'm looking to do, and every Monday I know what that number is that I want to put in for the week. For those of you that are familiar with TSS, my number on a bad week is probably 850 to 900. On a good week, I'm 1150 to 1250. That's what my goal is every week. Week in, and week out. Getting up at 4 a.m. and focusing in on my efforts to make sure that I'm meeting my goals for every week. All right. Last segment. Oh man, this is just the one that I just love it. Just love hearing this every week. Woulda racing. Bob, I would have done a lot better if. Woulda racing. Every week, I hear it. Sometimes just for me, sometimes in a group. Sometimes I just overhear it. But I love sharing it. This is Woulda Racing Rumble in the Jungle 2025. I touched base earlier. There's going to be 3 of these. I touched base earlier. Number 3, lappers. The lappers. Oh my God, the lappers just held me up. Nothing I could do. I must have lost 15 minutes. I'm exaggerating 15, but 10. Oh, I must have lost 10 minutes behind all those lappers. I would have done so much better. Guess what? Myself, Julio, and Marco, we got lappers. We did just fine out there. Number 2, I got a bad start. I missed my pedal. I missed clipping in. I was pushed back on the start. Guess what? Start's a part of mountain biking. You get a hole shot. Hole shot meaning you go in the woods in first. Not guaranteed to win. You can go from first to last. You don't get a hole shot. It's no reason to write yourself off. Figure out how to work your way through the trail. Figure out those openings. Work with lappers. Make your way up. You can do it. One of my racing partners, or one of my training partners, shared a story with me. He went in the woods somewhere around 33rd, 35th. We had a count. Made up a lot of spots. Think all the way up to second. How? Plan out the day. Work your way up. Work your way through those lappers. Work your way to the front. Just because you don't get a hole shot doesn't mean your day is over. And the number 1, this one actually comes up quite a bit. The number 1 thing that I heard this weekend was that I had the incorrect tire choice. Bob, based on your video, I chose a mud tire, and guess what? It wasn't muddy. Yep, wasn't muddy. But I'll tell you what, you can still push. Those tires still work, and you're not losing races because of your tire choice. So, learn how to work through lappers. Don't worry about the start. Yes, it's easier if you get a good start. Tire choice is important, but it's not the end-all be-all. Own your results. Own the racing. Own where you finished. Believe in yourself. Push. Train hard. And these woulda racing start to mean a whole lot less. Love it. Thank you for watching another episode of Hook, Line, and Shifter, brought to you by Orchest Technologies, U-Cycling, MASH Mobile Vet, Envy Wheels, POC Helmets, and Pirelli Tires. Without you guys, I couldn't do this. Again, thanks for watching. Please click the like, subscribe, and share button. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see everybody in Tallahassee in a couple weeks. Keep subscribing, keep watching, and thank you. Thank you for keeping me here, driving, making me push, and love what it is that I do. So thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. Have a great training week.